people? This episode is episode 63 of the Option Podcast. We are doing an election night thing, and I got Chris Chips, and the episode starts right now.
More active, and that's been a proponent of this election. You and I are now talking about something beside, even though we had these conversations in New York, but we're talking about politics right now. We're not talking about who's the better volleyball player out there and who's going to, win the Olympics next year.
Yeah, well,
we're not having that conversation.
Well, really, well, there
So
hasn't
they're
really,
pushing
but there hasn't been a
pushing
real
people's envelopes.
Well, there hasn't really been a president to date that hijacks a narrative the way Donald Trump does, right?
For sure.
Well, like I said in the beginning, the first two important things were like, if he wins, we got to change the way we do polling, and that's good. That's a good thing because
the way you run politics.
Yeah,
in general.
and second, with the most amount of votes, almost historically, if he wins, and everybody votes. Meaning, usually, like I said, more votes means Democratic wins.
I live in the world now.
But we also live in a world where the man has his hands in everything. Like, I'll give you an example. There's a lot of people that are concerned that they're going to be riots tonight if the Democrats lose, and it's a myth, and I'll tell you why. The riots happened because they were protests that spilled over from a black man getting shot in the back and a black man getting choked out. Now, if they want to take that situation and make it about Trump and use that as a boogeyman political strategy, and he gets elected for that, then that's fair game too. But you and I, we cannot let people lie to ourselves. We cannot let people think liberals are going to riot. The riots happened because police were shooting people and choking the life out of them. And Trump, like I said, just like sports, just like Hollywood, just like social issues, has gotten his hand via Twitter and everything and made everything about him, which is why you find yourself talking about more Trump than beach volleyball.
But it's a blowhorn effect, as you know, because he captures the media, and we talked about how he's doing it now on purpose to try. He doesn't have the money to put ad space, so it's much easier to be a blowhorn about anything controversial day after day after day, so you get more and more, media time for free. I think he's changed this whole process. If he wins again, we have to look at how he won. And what made him win, because traditional politics are not going to win if he's using his other type of politics in which to force his narrative out there, because that's what's going on. It's just a forceful narrative. We all know a lot of these things are not truthful. In fact, there are fact checkers, and 82% of the things he says in his speech are, this isn't me, this is fact checkers. I'm not one of them. Yep. But so he's changed politics in general completely. So we now have to look at that for the next round. And it doesn't matter who wins, to be honest with you, him or Biden or whatever it is. We're going to have to look at politics in a different way. Everybody says it will go back to normal if we have Biden. That's not true. Fauci even said it's 2 years to get out of COVID at this point. And the repercussions of borrowing over the past 4 years, and then prior to that with Obama borrowing, flooding the American economy with free money, quote unquote, bailing out the banks, all these things that we did. That's a bubble. So someone's going to have to, once the bubble pops, someone's going to have to pick up the pieces. And so unless we just continue to spend without any regard for what that spending means. And I'm assuming in the short term, we have to do that if there is no plan for COVID. And as Trump has said, is if he wins, there is no plan for COVID. And so the $3 trillion that we spent was for, I have no idea.
For Dick. Dick.
For nothing.
Right? Yeah.
So $3 trillion this year was spent for Burr, and people don't realize when he says herd immunity, people are like, oh yeah, herd, everybody gets it. Like, it's like the thing to get. Like, no, that means you, your wife, your mom, your
Kid.
dad, your kids,
Kids
your
are disease
dog,
machines.
the people that walk by you, your best friend down the street. That means everybody that you possibly know in your life is going to get COVID, okay, at one time or another. That's what herd immunity is. But there isn't herd immunity because you can get it more than one time. So with all that said, we're going to be in and out of this pattern of like, shut down to open up, to shut down to open up when places get, out of control, as we're seeing spikes like we are right now with seasonal changes in the whole 9 yards. So the repercussions of whatever is going to happen in this election is going to be massive. And it's going to make all of us actually look around and either, try to figure out an end to this, either personally or in your social, sphere or in your work sphere, or however we are the next steps to get out of this, because it herd just is, that means you're going to get COVID, and so is your wife and your kid. And I personally don't want to fight it. I don't know about you.
I could do without it.
I've got hereditary fucking lung problems from my father's side of the family. My uncle died. He had to have his lungs cut open and a new one put in there and shit. So, it's an hereditary antitrypsin deficiency in my family. I don't want to fight COVID. So I'm personally hoping that Biden takes this tonight, so that we can have a plan to get out of COVID. But if Trump takes it, we've been living through a Trump world for 4 years. Is it now going to be turned to 11 on the dial? Not 10, but 11 now. Now that he's got just because you saw what happened when he wasn't impeached, quote unquote. He was like, oh really? I made it past this one. 11. No one's taking me out. So is he going to go 11 on this one?
Who honestly thought he was going to be impeached though?
Yeah, no one did. But
first of all, just if you're a Martian, Chris Ships, if you're a Martian landing on this planet, and you read, it's 456 pages. I read as much as I could. I don't think the Democrats read all of it, and the Republicans, I'd be surprised if they read any of it. No, but the articles of impeachment in which they tried to impeach him were so fucking weak.
They were so weak. They should have waited.
Of all the things that are consistent with actual treason,
yes,
they did the right thing. Not impeaching him. You can't, and it's right. We're not saying this because we like or dislike anybody. We're just a Martian landing on this planet, seeing it for what it is. And
I agree with you fully.
I thought that was a mistake because not if he beat it, when. Because sooner or later, like Congress is like, let's just send it to the Senate and think what and see what happens.
Senate had the Senate. Yeah. There was no way he was going to be impeached.
And not just that, if he beats it, what does that do for his base?
Exactly.
It's an orgasm. It's a GOP orgasm. Of course it was.
Just like saying, Proud Boys, stand back and stand ready.
Stand by. All right.
Stand by. Sorry. Stand by and stand ready.
All right, this is where I'm going to come now. Is right now I see a lead on CNN. Biden, so far in the Electoral College is 89-72, but Trump right now is leading in pretty much every swing, every competitive, what you would call.
I got 94-80 on CNBC right now. Mm-hmm. And then
I think Fox has like 129-94 or something like that.
And let me go to Fox. I'll go to it right now. I hate, I hate the worst about watching this shit. And if anybody's watching us, which I doubt they are, but if they are watching this podcast right now, what I hate is that when you go to the things, they make it so crazy. You're like eye flipping all over the place, and you're like, would you just leave the score up in the corner the whole time? Right? It's like, just leave the score up. Just leave 98-81, 90 to 112 to 100 to, just leave the fucking score up. You can go bounce around and show me everything you want to. It's almost like you're watching college basketball, or you're watching the pros before they put their actual win to loss underneath the score, underneath their name. So if you're watching a game, you have no idea how good they're like 2-12. And they're playing, like an 8-9 team, whatever the hell it is. That didn't make sense, but something like that. I just wish they would do this on the side. Like, here we are, all right, 129-109. on the electoral scorecard so far on Fox. That's Fox News Live, everybody. Yes, I watch Fox.
How? This is a very important question that I already have the answer to. How much accountability, or I'll be redundant and say self-accountability, does the Democratic Party have to do if they lose this? And I'm going to just present a scenario. This is on social.
But before you do, lose what? The presidency, the House, or the Senate?
The presidency.
Because remember, everything's up for vote.
Well, and so far in the Senate, it looks like it's pretty close. In fact, Hickenlooper already called for Colorado. Former Governor Hickenlooper won the Senate seat in Colorado.
Oh, wow.
So
Okay.
that's big news. Mitch McConnell is going to win.
Hold
I mean, listen, when you go establishment,
I need a letter.
When you
Go
have
ahead.
Amy McGrath, all right, and you decide to run an establishment hack against McConnell, you're going to lose against McConnell, okay? The overage Super Ninja Turtle is going to take Kentucky. So listen, 2016, when Hillary lost, we're gonna plug that in a minute. In 2016, when Hillary lost, they blamed it on independents. They blamed it on Trump lying. They blamed it on this person. They blamed it on Jodie Foster. They blamed it on the dog with the wrong collar. My question to you, and this is a very, very difficult question because right now we're both leaning a little bit left. How much self-accountability and my redundancy does the Democratic Party have to say it's our fucking fault we lost?
Well, one thing we should make clear, okay, and this is a point that a good friend of mine who he actually ran Republican Senate campaigns in Rhode Island. He raised money. He's a staunch Republican. His father was mayor and ran Republican also. And it's funny because last time I talked to him, like, man, I can't believe you just said that. He's like, we got to get this fucking asshole out of the president. See, and I was like, man, I can't believe you just said that. I'm like, this is so crazy for me to hear you say this because you're so Republican. He's like, dude, he's like, I'll tell you why I voted for Donald Trump last time. I said, yeah, I really want to know, like, why the fuck would you know the stories that I've told you.
And I'll bet you everyone's story is the same, but go ahead.
Yeah, but so he goes, you know what? I voted for Donald Trump because I met Hillary Clinton's private service detail, the guy that ran it, their private detail, and he was at my father's place and was talking about her treatment towards the staff, and he goes, after that I heard the conversation, I was just convinced she's a witch, you know. And he's like, I want to do anything to make sure that she did not get into the presidency. So there's Donald Trump, and hey, he's a businessman. I thought, well, he can take a run at it. Let's give him a shot. And so when I asked him, I said, so that's what you thought? And he goes, I said, well, what about this time? He said, no fucking way. He goes, get this fucking asshole out of here. It's like, so basically what I'm saying is it's not Hillary this time. Okay. So to your question, what is it if it's not Hillary?
May I?
If they don't win, if Biden does not win and Trump takes this tonight, if it's not Hillary this time, then what, yes, to your point, what is it with the Democratic Party that is so out of control? And the only thing I can think about is Republicans say it straight. And you and I had a conversation about this. This is why I get so flagged on my Facebook and everybody, oh, Ships, you're an idiot, loser, whatever. I try to say it straight without, now I'm leaning left, of course, but it's from my personal opinion that I'm leaning to the left because I've witnessed Trump on a nightly, daily basis. But within this, and looking at the Democratic Party, is it, if he doesn't win, is it the party itself? Are they not saying the right things and saying it direct? Are they being too elusive about shit? Like when Trump comes on, he's like, you know what? This place is a shithole. That's it. I've said it. Goodbye. And then you hear like on CNN or all these liberal quote unquote stations, you're like, did he? Could he really say that? Was that what he is thinking? I mean, is this, it's crazy that he could think or want. Is it quite? No, he fucking said it. Listen to what he said. Like, and that's what I think the problem is with the Democratic Party in general, is that they don't say what they mean. They talk around the point. They like, you know, it's like my mom. She like hints at things. I'm like, Mom, just fucking say it. If you don't like my sweater, tell me you don't like the fucking sweater. You know, like I'm not offended. I'll take it off. I'll put another one on. And I think that's the problem that's currently with the Democratic Party, is that they just don't say things straight. They don't, you know, they question. Oh, is it? Could it? Would it? Should it? Maybe it could. And there was never like this forceful like stance. So I think if he definitely does lose tonight, considering everything that's happened over the past 4 years to all the Americans and the 230,000 people that are dead right now because of COVID, then there is a serious problem with the approach. And back to the original point that we were talking about, he's changed elections, he changed the approach of elections, and he'll change the outcome of elections.
This is the biggest, this is probably going to be the biggest historic turnout. And if he wins.
Ever.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
100
like
million.
If he wins,
100
then it's not Hillary.
Yeah.
It's what it, and it's got to be the you know, could it, should it, would it, who you know, point of view, instead of just coming out and saying it. Like, honestly, put me on that. You can call me whatever you want, but put me on that stage with some other person that acts like he does, and I'd be like, dude, 230,000 people dead. This is your watch. This isn't Hillary's watch. This isn't Obama's watch.
And no one could say that.
You know what I mean? And he didn't even. I would continue to pound him on it, even like sarcastic, like stupid comments, be like, yeah, and the 230,000 people that died this year, you know, like when someone put up a sticker on their car, it says, oh, we got 8 years of Obama, now you can have 8 years of Trump. And then my friend who's a dancer on Broadway put up in response to it, he said, yeah, well, the 230,000 people didn't make it through 4 years of Trump.
Right. Listen,
right?
Here's the thing. I wrote on my social media post, a very elongated post that I'm going to crunch for you.
Sure.
I'll start with the Republicans. If
Please.
the Republicans lose this race, blame yourself. You inherited low unemployment at 4.7% under Obama. Trump, to his credit, because people don't want to give him credit for this. But for me, I say you be consistent. You got to give Obama and Trump credit, or you give neither of them credit. So he took it from 4.7 to 3.5 for that time. However, doesn't accept accountability when it goes up. He takes you have a candidate that takes the credit when it's good and shifts the blame when it goes bad.
I saw that post, and I totally agree with you.
If he loses, COVID is the common denominator. We call it, Chris, hold on a second. Chris, we call it the easiest political layup ever in the history of politics. So if the Republicans lose, they got themselves to blame. Now, with that being said, Democrats, if the Democrats lose, we have something in New York we call a bargain basement primary. When you're running for mayor, like Bloomberg rules the world, Giuliani rules the world. There's these big guys, and you don't even know who's running against them or who's in the primary, because you already know ahead who's going to win. So we call those bargain basement primaries. For example, Mitt Romney, when he won the nomination, that was a bargain basement primary.
Of course.
The Democratic Party did not have a bargain basement primary. They had some of the brightest minds that their party, centrist left and progressive left, that
argue however you want.
Us as a collective consensus had to offer. In fact, there were so many bright minds, you could have filled like a cabinet with Williamson.
And you
could have filled a cabinet
with
Andrew Yang. You could have filled a cabinet of foreign affairs with Tulsi Gabbard. You just fucking fell. You could have filled a cabinet with Pete Buttigieg. You could have filled a cabinet with Amy Klobuchar. You could have filled a cabinet with Bernie Sanders, who, by the way, is the senior ranking member of the Senate Budget Committee. You could have run a cabinet. So out of all of these bright minds, Chris, the best you can do is Joe Biden, who a year ago, if you look at everybody's, people talk about your social network, fuck off. Take a look at their social posts a year ago. What were they saying? He should drop out.
I know. They were like, oh my God,
he can't remember shit. Drop out.
But,
that's it. No, wait, I'm almost done. I'm
you,
almost done.
Yeah.
That's your presidential pick. And then your VP pick is the one who is a generic Hillary Clinton in a sense that she's very bright, but at the same time, very vulnerable. So out of all these bright minds, that's who you send to war.
Black woman VP candidate ever. So, I mean, throw that into the hat. Sorry. Anyway, but I agree with all that what you said. And I think this is where the Democrats do not jump on the gun that they could have had loaded for this election. I completely agree. That cabinet is the cabinet that was there in front of everybody during the electoral process is immense. And all Biden had to come out and say is, listen, Bernie's going to be the head of this. Chelsea's going to be the head of this. This person's going to be the head of that.
Garrett's on the Foreign Affairs Committee.
Foreign Affairs Committee. This is going to, and
Yang.
all he had to do was just come out and say it. Just be like, you know what? He could have even said, and this, after we talked, I thought about it myself because I thought, oh my God, if I ever run for a political position, I'm going to remember this. Okay. I'm going to remember being this conversation. And if I'm on a stage with somebody else and I realize that the people around me are just fucking immense, I'm going to say something. I'm going to be like, you know what? You people are immense. Like, I can't believe this is the new blood of the party. I mean, I'm over here an old fart, and this is what and this is how Biden should have taken charge when he knew that he was the front runner, when he was going to be pushed to the forefront. I know, and they want to make it all about him, and then there's the problems with, political left and right. But at some point, he should have started saying, okay, I'm putting my cabinet together, and I'm thinking about, because that would have been the best thing to do.
They were the two most vulnerable candidates that the Democratic primary had to offer.
This is who I'm thinking. I'm thinking about these 5 people. Now, because then, media all over the place. But if you did it in every single spot, you're talking like 50, 60, 70, 80 people. Of course, the cabinet positions that actually Trump doesn't have filled right now, most of them, they could all, and then, how you're hearing a new story every day on Facebook or on the news about a new person in the middle of something that's 5 people of 1,000. No one would pay attention to that. So he didn't do that. He didn't take the opportunity. And I think that's it's very reminiscent of what this party is all about, is they don't take the bull by the horns and just slam it into the fucking ground. Be like, nah, man, this is the way it is. And I'm sitting here, because every time you hear Mitch, they're going to ruin American democracy. This is a violation of our human rights, and kill our children and take our women. Every time he gets on the fucking thing, that's what he says, and everybody's like, "Oh my God, it's a travesty!" If he says it's a travesty, oh, they're coming for you, like
holy shit, that was good. Sorry.
Thank you very much. I don't know how it comes out sometimes, but it does. but I feel like why don't we take the bull by the horns?
Yeah.
Why don't we come out and say the same shit? Be like, yo, man, everybody's fucking dead around here. This is crazy. Where's the PPE? How come, and you see Cuomo tried to do it a little bit in New York and he got rammed for it. And
and Bernie tried to do it and he got.
Bernie tried to do it and he got rammed for it. But how come Trump can do it and we can't find an alternative party that can do the same thing and have the same response?
Because the same people that
with truth.
Well,
with
listen,
truth.
the answer to that, the answer to that is the same people that you're knocking are the same people you probably have to make deals with if you get in office. So Democrats have been extremely careful of that. Hold on a second. And Trump, for the last 4 years, anything that he's done well, and he's done a few things well, he's cut out the middleman.
This is the biggest layup.
The man's cut out the middleman.
Dude, he could have been president so easily if he had just fucking taken the time.
COVID would have been. I mean, it's probably.
God!
Look, it might be a landslide anyway, but COVID would have been a definitely landslide if he took.
I mean, he might win, tonight with a landslide himself. But I mean, God, it would have been so easy with a layup for him if all he did was just take COVID seriously, or excuse me, not even seriously. How about half?
How about like a mammal?
How about, yeah, exactly.
Walk on two legs, drink water, and
fuck that, just an animal on this planet, okay? Just take it like that, all right? We're an animal, not even a mammal, we're an animal. Just look at it like that. If he had done that, he would have been laughing all the way to the bank. But now he's still campaigning at the very end of his time. He's not doing a presidential look in the office today, showing that he's, continuing to be the president, which most people do on the last day. And this is where our second conversation came up. If it's close and it's not a blowout, because right now it's 129 to 115 right now
and
on
who?
Fox.
Biden still has, Biden. They have Biden at 125, right?
129 to 115 on Fox.
Yep.
Okay, Dow futures looks up. Things look bright on Fox.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Until the 80 votes that get decided at the same time.
Exactly. And question being, if this is so close that one or two states have enough electoral votes to swing the potential presidency, this is where I think we have the problem with the riots, and we have the problem with discord within the United States. And the only person that's been calling for that with a megaphone is the President of the United States. So that's where my fear comes in, is that we all know that in some states it takes longer to count these votes than others, right? We all know this. We know that our military vote needs to come in, right?
Which they're opposing, which is bizarre to me because the military votes Republican. So
yeah,
I don't
exactly.
get that
So he's opposing any sort of ballot from another place or mail in or whatever you want to call it. And my problem and my concern is if it's that close that we have the hanging Chad situation in Florida, even though Florida's been called, some other state, let's just say, even though Florida's actually very close, I think it's been called, I'm not sure. And we have a problem where it goes to that state Supreme Court. Supreme Court cannot make a decision based on the laws the way they are written. And then it is passed on to the Supreme Court of the land, in which they make the decision there for the state. During this time, as we talked about the other day, this is a long period, because you have, I think, until about December 5th to finalize your accounting, to then put in your vote to the electoral college. I think that's like the deadline. Mike Pence sits over the electoral college voting system. He's there and present to watch the final vote. There hasn't been a time when either the state or recently or a person watching over has decided to change the vote and thinking that their state wants to go a different direction than they actually voted. But there's a possibility, and I think it's happened. I'm not the political analyst to be able to talk about this. But my fear is that this process that happens takes so much time that we are in late January, late February by the time we're getting a ruling. And people are so left and right already about all this that just amps up to 11 over the next 3 months.
You will only see that if the election is decided by one state. You're not going to see.
This is what I'm talking about.
You're not going to see a multiple state fucking by the Supreme Court.
No, because you can tell, because state. Not do that. But tonight they said, the state legislation, the state Supreme Court judge made a decision about the mail-in ballots that are in the USPS, and said they had to make a sweep through it, and the head said no.
Yeah.
So we're not.
So that's 300,000. Actually, so as far as I know, 300,000.
That could swing. That could definitely swing any of these situations. So I don't understand how you can have a ruling from a judge and then you say you're not going to do it.
I actually
Like,
don't think 300,000 is going to. I mean, if
oh
you look
yeah,
at
a couple of
300,000,
these are really, really close,
well, if they're
bro. If you look at
I
them,
mean, Chris, if you're talking, if it's concentrated into certain
it is.
counties,
Yeah, this is what I'm talking
yeah.
about. It's like concentrated in a certain state and
Well, I
certain
mean,
areas.
just Georgia. I just saw a report in Georgia that a pipe burst in one of their biggest county that houses 1 million people. A pipe burst inside the election, the
Mm,
election
here we go.
room. So,
Here we
so
go.
look, if Donald Trump's ahead to a
Yeah.
point, I mean, I'm not doing any wishful thinking for Biden. Look,
No, no,
I
no,
voted
no. I'm
for this
not.
guy because I voted for this guy. I'm not one of these muscleheads trying to start a fight over Trump and over whatever
Nah,
over
nah,
two
me
people.
neither. And everybody thinks
Two
I
people
am.
you
I'm
never
like,
no not that's not you, Chris. You're not gonna start a fight with someone you've known all your life
I'm just gonna tell you the
over
truth
someone you've never
about.
met before.
I'm just gonna tell you the truth about what I saw and what I went through and how my experiences are shaping what I'm doing. And that's normally how I, take my opinion on everything political. And when people are like, "Oh, I voted for this person," I'm like, "Great, I'm glad you voted." I'm glad you're out there voting. Just like this turnout, I think is immense. I think, the kids, the millennials, have to realize that this is their vote. This isn't really our vote anymore. Because by the time we pay all this back over the next 4 to 6, 8 years of borrowing and whatnot, it's the millennials that have to pay this back. I'm close to 50 years old. I'll be close to 60 by the time these debts come starting to fruition on our country.
It's true.
So I'll be in close to retirement, hopefully, age. You know, it's the millennials, and I hope, and it looks like they're coming out to vote. It looks like an increase in their representation because this is their country too. Just like you and I, at our age, this is becoming quote unquote our country. In a political manner, we're becoming active.
Yeah.
We're getting to the point we're looking around and seeing what's going on and being a part of it, watching election, doing election, podcasts, talking about this, like becoming active. And I've seen my nephew and a couple millennials really become stronger individuals through this, and being kind of active in a voting way. Their voices, it's odd. Their voices are very direct, like almost like they've heard all the bullshit, and because they have the internet and the access to the internet, their proclamations in a political way are more direct. Where I think when we grew up, there wasn't the cell phone, there wasn't the internet, there wasn't an immediate answer, and so you would listen to the bullshit a little bit more from people. You know what
You're
I
right.
mean? And you kind of believed in the bullshit a little bit more because you didn't have anything to reference unless you ran to the library and looked it up at Webster's or had a Encyclopedia Britannica collection at your home. I mean, you couldn't get the answers to things. So
Yeah. Anyone have any questions? The number's 917-968-0921.
do
You
a
can call
block
in. We're
everything.
taking phone calls, or you can message in on the live feed right now. This is Jason DeBiss. This is Chris Chips. Question.
Answer.
Michigan right now, Trump
Yep.
Trump is leading, like in real time. We're in real time here. However, only 11% of the mail-in ballots are counted. So, to your knowledge, you have any knowledge of other states? Are they counting the mail-in ballots the same time as the early voting?
No, some states are waiting
Okay.
to count in. Some are all doing it at the same time. Some have 3-day limits. Some say have a 5-day limit. Some are pushing for different things right now. In general, it's supposed to be when all the votes are counted.
Yeah. Well, that's democracy,
That's
right?
it.
Everyone gets to vote.
Which goes back to my point. How come our system isn't so seamless right now? I mean, why are there long lines? I mean, here in Oregon, we do a mail-in ballot, but you can also vote in person.
California got it right.
Yeah, you have an option to do all the above. So what did I do? We got our ballot in the thing. We sat at home. We looked through all the things. We went and we put our little thing. You have to sign the inside. You have to sign the outside. and then you have to drop it off at a drop box like right down the street, or you can possibly mail it in if you wish to. Now, it wasn't hard.
No, in California there were no lines.
There weren't
like
any lines here.
You go
either.
to any polling place in the South Bay or Orange County right now, there's no lines.
Took me 10 seconds. I walked in with the phone on my hand, walked over the ballot thing, and I turned around and I walked out again. Took 10 seconds because 5 of it, my wife took a picture of me. Like it shouldn't take long. I mean, if you can get money sent to you via the internet on your phone and think that that's okay, and that the actual number shows up that someone sent to you, then why can't we just figure this out? And if we're going to go spend $3 trillion on COVID, and I still am walking around with a fucking mask on, okay, then how come we didn't take some of this money and fix the voting system, knowingly, FBI, CIA, countless millions and millions and millions of dollars spent to find out through our own system that there has been tries at fucking up our electoral system. When you believe in democracy across the world, if we were going to push our democracy across the world and say democracy is the right way to go for every country out there, and that, this socialism is not, and this isn't right, and this isn't right, that democracy is the basis of the form in which everybody should take, then the basis of it needs to be in the rudimentary, which is our electing system, election system.
Right.
And it should be ironclad as far as I'm concerned. Why don't we spend $3 trillion? How come we didn't peel out $200 million for this thing to make sure that the minute that you put your thing in it registers and you can see it? Jade, like I know when I'm watching volleyball tournaments from the AVP and Ty Loomis was streaming and everybody was putting up a like or a heart, it was coming up friggin' 11,000 strong on, whenever anybody was coming up. How come we're not seeing shit like this in the electoral, like bling, bling, like not names, but maybe like, thumbs up or, voting, and one's red and one's blue, and then the independent goes up in the middle. That's
I'm
like
sad. I watched the Giants game yesterday, and at the end, there was like a pass interference call where the refs picked up the flag. There's 12 different cameras that are going to show you whether there's PI or not. You're right. Why the fuck can't we do this for what seems like one of the most important elections in
and it's crazy. And it's crazy because people are like, oh, it's going to be fraudulent, it's going to be a hoax, and because Trump is blowhorning out there. And I talk to people in Rhode Island, they're like, man, I'm kind of afraid. I'm like, why are you so afraid? I'm like, I mail shit all the time. It's not a big deal. Go mail in the votes. And by the way, you can track it. You can track it online.
Guys, trackvote.org. For anyone listening to this live, trackvote.org. Showed you mine, right?
Trackvote.org. That's it. You can see if it's been registered, and if not, you could go in and then complain that it wasn't registered and say, I tried to vote, and then they'll actually do an in-person voting with you. They'll disregard anything that comes through. Not only that, remember, you got to be a registered voter to vote. People are like, oh, it's going to be such a hoax. I'm like, well, if it's a hoax, I don't get it, because you had to sign out this paperwork, pick a party or not pick a party. You had to give them all your information, your signature, your license, this is your driver. Everything's tied into the same shit. Like, yeah, I get it. If you can try to be fraudulent with a fake ID, it's like getting into a bar. Someone's going to try to do it, of course. But the majority of people are going to have a real ID unless you're in a college town.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So that's why I think this whole fraudulent thing is crazy. But and if that's the case, if Trump's going to be a blowhorn about this, and I'll say it again, how come we didn't do something over the past 4 years to fix it so it was seamless? How come I'm not seeing likes going up on the fucking screen every 3 seconds when there are votes going out and being like, look, they're all being tallied, and the transparency. How about that? How about registered voters to people ballots that counted to, ones that were thrown away or whatnot? How come we're not seeing that in real time?
Let's have a little fun with this, because right now we're in real time, and we can listen to this on audio or video and feel like an asshole later about it.
Sure.
Does this election finish tonight? Just for fun.
The only way it finishes tonight, if there's enough of a electoral blowout by one candidate or another that a swing state or two and a change in the process within that state would then account for a win a different direction. So the only way it's not, personally, I think the only way it's not going to go to a long, elongated, involved process of many months and lots of heartache if there is a blowout. Either way.
And if there isn't a blowout, it's not over.
It's not over.
Right.
No way is it over.
In real time.
And first of all, I'm going to say it's not over from what I see of Trump and what I know of Trump. He's going to fight no matter what. Okay.
Well, if he wins, he ain't going to fight.
Well, I'm saying too close to call.
Right.
Okay. Biden, on the other hand, I don't know. Does he fight? Because last time Gore didn't fight with Bush in Florida.
Biden's a fighter, though. Gore's not a fighter, though. Biden is a fighter.
Yeah, I know, but he could have taken it to the, to the Supreme Courts, and he could have contested the vote, and he pulled away. He actually said for democracy, he's not going to do that. Well, we know what Trump thinks about democracy and the rules thereof.
Doesn't 20 years ago seem like so long ago where we thought all of the elections are fair? And then you see a documentary 20 years later, or maybe you see a movie version of it, like Recount with Kevin Spacey and Dennis Leary.
Yes.
And talking about like how someone used a law that's never been used before, and then after this year the law is gone, so you can never use it again. Like these little one-time exceptions, little one-time runoffs where you're like, wow, these motherfuckers cheated.
Well, it's not. I know. I don't even call it cheating. Sometimes it's just bending the system.
Right.
And someone looked at it with a fine microscope and pushed it in their direction. That's what you see with gerrymandering. That's what you see with all these things. And maybe that's the problem with the Democratic Party. Maybe they're not looking at it like let's tip the scales. Let's go in and gerrymander and put in more federal judges. Let's do the things that we just saw done over the past 4 years with not only Supreme Court judges but federal Supreme Court per state judges.
Lindsey Graham's
maybe
back
that's
in.
Wrong with the party is that these people are like, fuck it, whatever it takes to win, I'm gonna friggin' win. I don't give a shit if I was just banging my my cousin's friggin' dog in the back room. I'm going to still win this motherfucking race because I'm a good motherfucking American. And they win.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe that's the change that has to happen, is that direct forward fuck you attitude, calling people out for what they are instead of talking around the point. And I don't know. Biden's still winning on the scorecard on Fox, 133 to 115.
Fox is honey dicking you, though.
Yeah, I know, because they got Lindsey Graham on, and I got to turn it because this clown is
Lindsey
clown.
Graham, he won his seat back. Do you know the guy was in tears? Yeah. He was pretty sure. I mean, when you saw his speeches before the election, even he didn't think he was going to win. The guy had tears in his eyes, about losing his seat.
Just please vote for me.
Oh, please give me money, actually. You get these fucking emails. You get these, these text messages with the big, big pair of balls between their legs texting you about that. Nevada, 75% in Nevada. Biden's winning 53 to 45.
Is there going to be a Bible Belt disconnect?
Well, here's and according to CNN, they said the election may come down to Arizona, these 4 states: Arizona, Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Those are the 4 states, and right now, Biden's only leading in one. He's only leading in Arizona, which I thought I'd never see the.
In Arizona, you said?
Yeah. Well, you fucking insult McCain. Sometimes that comes back at you. That was McCain country for a long time.
That is crazy that you can insult McCain and still, and this is what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Fuck.
You're like, why are we even having a podcast right now, Jay?
It's like, how can you insult people, every walk of race? And people say to me, they're always like, yo, Trump's this way or Trump's that way. And I'm like, listen, I know him from New York, and I also know that he hasn't changed. And what I knew from New York was that if you have a lot of money and you want to give it to him, then you're a very smart person. Okay. And if you don't have a lot of money, he doesn't give a shit about you. You're not in the room with him. You're not breathing the same air as him. He doesn't even recognize that you're there. Like literally, I was standing 4 feet away from him most of the night. Did not want to recognize I was there. Definitely stands like this the whole time, like he's trying to sniff air that we can't sniff.
Yeah. Chin high. Yeah, chin high. Yep.
And if you didn't have $1 or enough money to tempt him in any way, he did not give a shit about you. It was all about trying to climb the social ladder in New York, be on the top of the social rungs. That's his main push. He wants to be a socialite in New York. He wants to be considered a socialite family, just as the Hiltons and just as the Hearsts and many other families out there are considered that within the circles of New York. So that's where my personal, opinions on these. And I look and I say, how can someone come out and insult every walk and race, out there? He's insulted everybody. And even like people like, the Scooch who worked for him, the minute you say something bad about him, to the wolves. So it's just crazy to me how, I don't know, just how you can do that and still have so much power there afterwards, and having so many people that are still interested in you. And yet, if that's the case, then, like we've been talking about, something else has to happen from another party who has a little bit more of an understanding of what's going on with the real working class people. Because Donald Trump grew up with a spoon in his mouth, a silver spoon in his mouth, and he wants a platinum spoon, but he's got a silver spoon in his mouth. And if he wins, then with such a disconnect to the actual working people, then we got to really look at what America needs and wants. And obviously, we'll live through another 4 years of Trump. Will it be turned to 11? I don't know.
But aren't we looking at the same thing? Like, this is another reality. Like, Obama, in my opinion, however flawed he was the best president in my lifetime. I'm 50 years old, and there's very few policies that someone introduce from that high in office that affects a working person directly. Like,
Agree.
Right, like whoever's president, like I'm still broke, right? This guy's like, I'm still working 2 jobs, I'm still making just enough money to be broke, and that's during Obama, that's during Bush. They don't give a fuck about me. The plane flies over me, this and that. So, what Trump did was give a voice to a lot of people who thought they were voiceless. That was 4 years ago, and that still stays the same. The man showed people why they should defend billionaires. The man showed people who are broke why it's okay to white knight for billionaires. And it comes from Chris, it's a pseudo values perspective. Here's a great example that you're going to appreciate. For example, if this guy's a billionaire, he's earned it. And if you think he's earned it, that means he worked hard to get it. And if you think he worked hard to get it, hold on. And if you think he worked hard to get it, he's a highly moral, ethical, hardworking person. Now, let me go in the reverse. If someone's poor, and they're going by the same rationalization or the same rationale, if someone's poor, they probably don't deserve it. Why don't they deserve it? Because they didn't work hard enough to get it. And if they didn't work hard enough to get it, they're less moral. And it is the biggest lie that seeped its way into politics, and somehow, some way, some of my friends are not insulted by that.
No, but the problem is he didn't work for it.
I know.
He was given it.
I'm not talking
So
about.
that's why.
I'm not talking about the truth. I'm talking about a shaped reality. I'm talking about.
No, I know. That's why I'm trying to talk about the truth. I'm like I saw. It was pretty funny. I saw a broken down Winnebago, and it had a Trump flag on the back, and it was on the side, and it was like, from like '82, and the front was open, and the dude got out. It was a big white dude, and like gross, looked like he was sleeping in the woods for a while. And they're on. I'm like, this is like typical of the Trump campaign. It's like, these people have no money. They're broken down and by the way, the Winnebago is still there. It's been like 2 weeks. The Trump thing is still in the back. It's on the side of the road. It's completely broken down. There are now the stickers from the state on it for it to be taken away. And I'm just, I'm dumbfounded that those people that think that Trump is for them, not only in policy, but by what he says, and personally knowing who Trump is from my interaction with him, it's even more to 11 in my mind. Yeah. I'm like, yeah. And as I said,
known scumbag. Sorry. Just call it
yeah,
what it
no,
is.
and I think the reason why a lot of people like him is because they were always considered the conspiracy theorist and the person that didn't have the voice in the conversation a lot of the times. And that now he's come out and says things that they've been thinking and they've been preaching. So it gives them a voice to say, oh my God, look, he's the president of the United States, the most powerful person in the world, is saying the same things I'm saying. So look, I'm not stupid. I'm not an idiot for saying the things I was saying, or having the thoughts I was having. And by the way, no one thinks that you're an idiot for having crazy thoughts.
And nobody's going to do the research on said thoughts.
Yeah, exactly.
Look. If he says that all of the states right now that have the highest unemployment have Democratic-run governors, how many people are going to do the research on that? Not just that.
I did.
Even if it's true, how many are they going to look for the lurking variables? Right? Yeah. If in fact that all of the states that are unemployed have Democratic-run governments, why? Exactly. Here's my question: why are the highest welfare recipients of government benefits come from red states?
In Texas is
eight
the number one.
8 of the top 10 states in the United States of welfare recipients.
Yeah.
Texas I mean, people need to understand, because people seep.
Arizona.
Listen, no, people seep unemployment.
Florida.
Into Florida. Not how you just got me. You got me. People seep unemployment into welfare. And that's not, for the people listening, unemployment. No, unemployment is an insurance we pay into, and if we don't have a job, we get unemployment
benefits. Get the money back.
We pay into that. That's not entitlement spending. That's not hand me down. No, fucking hand me downs are welfare checks. And you could look at the black welfare queen from the ghetto all you want, but 8 out of 10 states, 8 out of 10 states that are the biggest recipients of welfare benefits come from Republican states. These are lurking variables.
I know. No one looks at that.
Also, by the way, the states that have low unemployment have the highest COVID cases. So basically, they're basically saying, kill a guy, save a job. Kill a guy, save a job.
More money for me.
Yeah. Hey, we got low unemployment. It's because the guy's dead.
Natural selection.
That guy's not unemployed. He's not alive. He's not alive.
This is crazy. So and I think
Florida just got called, by the way. Sorry, Florida just got called.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. And what I think is that I'm going to go to Fox. I like Fox's news.
It's a big state. Yeah, Fox has more up-to-date numbers.
Are they really saying that he's winning? When are they going to say he hasn't? When he does, I'm going to flip it.
No, these guys have been preparing for the worst for weeks. So this way, if Trump wins, it's going to be like this orgasm. It's going to be this GOP orgasm. And for that, I say, listen, for my Republican friends, good for you. Good for you. One way or another.
No, hey, listen.
One way or another, I'm not posting tomorrow. If Biden wins, I'm not posting.
The only problem I have with Trump winning, besides the obvious of everything we talked about, is that he's going to try to put his son and his family in the White House from now until the end of time. He's already said it. And I believe what he says. I don't say, is he going to? Could he want to?
You mean a single family, like a single family patriarchy?
Oh, yeah, for sure. For the next 50 years. Because you think I'm wrong.
No.
If he can fix this so he stays in, then he puts Don Jr. in. Okay, Don Jr.'s in for another 8 years. Okay,
Chris, you have to fight fire with fire. To beat a non-establishment candidate, someone who's never been in politics all his life, you have to let the leash off of your bigger non-establishment grassroots candidate. And the Democratic Party
give this up.
And the Democratic Party had plenty of them. The DNC had plenty of them. Buttigieg was grassroots. Fucking Tulsi Gabbard, a vet, a military, a Gulf War, Iraq War vet.
But there is no way he's had too much winning, in his words, to want to give this winning up. He was pretty. If you look at his sheet, his numbers. From his taxes, he was pretty much broke. I mean, he's borrowed. He's way leveraged out, borrowed out, basically, as you say. So when the piper comes to pipe, you can then sell off and do whatever. You can still have a lot of money. I'm not saying he's a broke guy, but he was he didn't have a lot of fluid cash. Okay, that it was borrowing upon borrowing, and people argue, oh, when you're a big company, you should borrow, and I've heard either side of it. No debt is good debt, and some people are like, oh, that's great because it's only $1 right now for $1, so there's no really numbers on it. You're not really paying anything on it, all this stuff. I get it to a certain point, but in general, when you're sitting in a president, you haven't given up your taxes yet. You're in incredible debt. You're looks like you're pretty broke going into this, and all of a sudden you're getting the windfall from this presidency. I mean, I personally have not seen the expenditure of the $3-something trillion from our government. Can we see a spreadsheet of that? What we spent on COVID? Where is it? Supposedly Mnuchin didn't spend $500 billion. Where's the spreadsheet of what we spent? How come we can't see that? That's our money, by the way. It's not his money. It's not their money. It's our money.
Well, listen, he has.
Where's the spreadsheet on that? Is there anything available on that? I've never seen anything.
What happened to the $1 billion Saudi Arabia gave us for us pimping out our soldiers? I told you on the phone a few days ago. We sent 2 battalions to operate about that. For the people listening on this podcast, as of June, and a lot of people don't notice, and I'm going to tell you how I know. 2 battalions were sent to Saudi Arabia to operate under the Saudi prince's command. Donald Trump, to the media on CBS, I believe, admitted and bragged about it and said they're giving us $1 billion for it. Here's the problem. One, our soldiers are getting pimped out to fight the Saudis' wars. And Saudi, by the way, who has ties to Al-Qaeda, the Taliban, and has been known for financing terrorists, but for some reason remain our ally, okay? Iran can be our ally, but Saudi Arabia can. So the only way I even knew is because Tulsi Gabbard is on the Foreign Affairs Committee and Armed Services Committee and says, I want to let you guys know what the hell is going on. So right now, our America First president is pimping out our soldiers, which, by the way, was the ultimate deal breaker for me. I don't care if he wins. I don't care if he loses. But I'm a vet. I'm a Gulf War vet. I'm a veteran like my father before me, my father before him, my father before him. My sister, 2 tours in Afghanistan. And me, I joined the army because I wanted to kick the bad guy's ass and save the girl in the world for democracy. We're not
Americans,
hired,
brother.
We're not hired soldiers.
What you want to do?
We're not hired soldiers to operate under a prince's command. And the reason why it sucks is because if the Saudis hired contractors, Chris, which, by the way, they can afford, okay?
They can totally afford the best in the world.
But if someone shoots a contractor, they'll kick up a little bit of a fuss. You shoot a soldier, it's an act of war. You shoot a U.S. soldier, it's an act of war.
It's true.
And this is the problem I have. So the president, who's keeping everybody out of wars, is strategically placing pieces as bait, as worms on a hook for our enemies to bite.
Yeah.
Or new enemies. People that have not been our enemies might be who are an enemy of the Saudis are now going to be our enemy.
Yeah.
So
it's crazy how you pimp out our military like that.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Yeah. I really don't get it. And,
he's thinking about money, but I just want to know where the money is. That's $1 billion.
That's what I want to know. I get it. I always say this. Trump could be the best president that the United States has ever seen in our lifetime, in anybody's lifetime, if he would just do the things for the people rather than himself.
Again,
That's
COVID.
It. I don't think he's
We
that
said in
bad.
the
I don't
didn't
think
you
he's
say in
that
the
bad.
beginning of
Like,
if he acted like a mammal in COVID, this wouldn't even be.
oh my
there
God, he
wouldn't
could
even
have
be a-
ran
there
out.
wouldn't
He could have ran out and shot somebody on Fifth Avenue, and he would have still been president, buddy. He could have been like, boom, I'm going to the White
He
House
saved
again.
our
Suck it.
lives. He saved our lives.
Oh, dude, he could have ran out there with a tutu on and shot somebody with a fucking AK fucking rifle, and just like the kid did in friggin' Kenosha, and then walked out of there no problem. He'd be like, I think I'm gonna smoke something on my walk to the White House
For America.
Yeah, exactly, America. So like he would have. I can't believe he didn't take the opportunity to save the country.
There would have been.
How one-sided, how greedy for yourself, self-centered. Like, I get there's money to be made on all these products, and there's a strategy to put yourself and the people who supported you in good business positions to make money, and you want your really big tower in Moscow, and you want one in China. You also want one in North Korea. You want to repopulate the beach there. Like, I get all these little things, but at the end of the day, it's COVID. People are fucking dying from this thing, and he knew about it. Like, and I said it on our last time we talked about it. Like, yeah, like if you didn't know about it in the beginning, and then you're like, oh, okay, now we know. Let's try this, because this is like a learning situation. We don't know about this crap.
No, we don't.
We still kind of don't know about it.
let me show you what CNN is doing right now.
A layup. This is a layup for you.
This is what pisses me
off. Save the world.
Look, wait. Look,
Donald Trump saves the world.
Let me show you what pisses me off.
How stupid can you be?
Oh, we got another projection.
I would have saved the world, by the way. That's what I would try to do. I would have put on the Superman outfit and tried to save the world.
Parade. Look, you'd have a ticker tape parade for 12 straight days in 12 of the richest counties in the United States of America.
He literally could have ran down any street in America friggin' with a tutu on, naked, shooting people, and he was still better than president if he had saved everybody from COVID. If we had 11,000 people dead instead of 230,000 people at this point, he would have been the next baby Jesus.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, I mean think about it. If he wins, he's already the baby Jesus.
He's already the baby Jesus. You're right. He's like, I don't even have to do that shit. And I'm still baby
all I had
Jesus.
to do is stay in my motherfucking manger.
Fuck that. All I had to do is insult every single person around me. Tell everybody that they're stupid or losers.
The three wise men, fuck off.
Fuck off.
The three wise men, you bring me gold, myrrh, and frankincense.
He could have done whatever he wanted to. I would have taken the opportunity.
If he wins, or I mean, again, for the people watching, we don't know who won. By the time you listen to this episode, many of you listening to this episode, there's already going to be a winner. So this is a fun conversation. So I'm not saying if by some small chance he wins or whatever, because the polls are all over the place and no one knows. But if he wins, he is the baby Jesus.
He's the baby Jesus if he pulls this off in the middle of COVID.
We got a new projection. Okay, he won Mississippi. Fine. Biden won Colorado. That's fine. This is what pisses me off. Watch this. CNN. Yes. Look at this.
Yeah,
stop playing with people's feelings, man. Fuck off.
What does that friggin' mean?
Dude, fuck off. Stop playing with people's feelings like that.
Yeah, but what they keep on doing is they're doing like the projection of that, and then like you flip away and you flip back and you're like, what's this? That's why I'm saying there's gotta be a rolling ticker.
Or even worse, how about the people that go to bed? How about the people that go to bed and think that shit's in the bag?
In the bag. And they're still counting up, and they wake up and their state's been flipped.
They go to Starbucks and their friends like, what do you got to say now? I'm like, well, I'm glad Biden's president.
Their Biden party. They're at their Biden party like, I'm going to get laid tonight. They wake up the next morning and Trump's the fucking president.
Honestly, to me, all right. So I have a really cool question since we're just bullshitting and shooting the shit. Here's a question that other people might want to answer too if they listen to it. Please. Which state, if Trump wins a certain state, which state that would disappoint you? Not surprised, because right now, listen, if he wins, there are no fucking surprises. I mean, there are no surprises anymore, just disappointments. Which state, if Trump wins, would you be like, I'm so disappointed after this guy promised you something 4 years ago and your situation's worse? Give me a state.
That's a good.
Can I go first?
Yeah, please go first.
Michigan. Ooh. Michigan was promised a lot of shit, right? They were a little bit angry and crass about Bernie not winning, so they're going to vote for their non-establishment candidate, and that's him. And Trump promised to keep, make America great again, keep America first. Oh, this guy, Hillary's going to ship your shit off to China, and you're going to lose all your jobs if you don't vote for me. So they're like, you know what? No, shit, I want to vote for this guy. GM was alive, but eventually GM went bankrupt. Thanks a lot, Obama. Thanks a lot, Biden. Well, I need someone I can believe in. I'm voting for Trump. 4 years later, the man has federal contracts with big corporations that ship $435 billion. $435 billion to business outside of the United States, Mexico and China. So as of right now, 28,000 Michigan auto manufacturers lost their jobs. That's a small number that I know about, but I don't. So to me, if I had to pick a state where they were promised something, they voted for him and he came up short and they voted for him anyway, my state would be Michigan. I'm not and when I say disappointed, I don't mean cast aspersions like a plague on you and your family.
I get it.
No, fuck off. Vote for who you want, but that's the one that's going to leave me scratching my head. That's the one that's going to leave me scratching my head. Give me a state.
Here. As you were talking, I was like spanning the states, and the only answer that keep on coming up in my mind is any state that a lot of people have died because of COVID.
Florida and Texas. I mean, everyone talks about California
every
and New York
one
and this and
that has been not that had tried to contain it. The ones that are just like fuck it, go for it, and it's just everywhere, and people are dying just constantly right now. And we're headed into the winter, as winter's coming.
Yep.
And it's even going to get worse.
Fauci warned about this spike. In April and May.
Of course, Fauci said
there's another strand of this
everybody
version
knows
of the virus
everything.
That was coming.
We can fix this in 3 months. We all know it. 3 months.
If we do it right.
3 fucking months to contain it.
If we do it right, yeah.
Do enough.
And it's flu season. We can contain the flu too.
Well, that's what people are like. Oh, there's flus. Look at what's going on. I'm like,
but we can do a 2-for-1
because by the way, we're walking around with masks on. Of course, there's going to be less flus. There's going to be less fucking colds. There's going to be less flus. There's going to be less COVID. There's going to be less everything if you're all walking around with a mask on, and you're washing your hands after touching something.
True.
And washing your kids' hands after they touch something. And they're at school and they're touching everything and bringing it back home, and you're being careful about it. Of course, every single virus out there, cold virus, whatever you want to call it, anything, everything's going to be cut down if we live like that. So with that premise alone, by the way, I got to drive around a lot during shutdown because I'm an essential worker, and the amount of nature that came back during the time that everybody was in their home was immense. You saw all the little bugs come back, like rapidly, like intensely, where there would be less, bugs dead on my windshield. There were like an immense amount during the period. I was seeing animals up here starting to come out to the road edge and start eating the grass stuff, and they start, walking over and using the thing. They were like starting to take back over. So I felt like almost like the earth got a nice, we saw the pictures of different places that were having different clearing effects of their, environment. And what's wrong with taking a pause? As long as it is a planned out pause. So for COVID or for our environment, or for whatever we need to pause for, why can't we just plan it out and say, okay, this is my plan with COVID. It was like I was during the summer and said, okay, let's shoot for Labor Day weekend. It's August 1, let's shoot for Labor Day weekend. All of August, no masks, go fucking have fun. But Labor Day weekend, everybody's on lockdown, masks happen, and these are the steps and the plans that everybody has to follow. And we're going to shoot out a check for the unemployed, and we're going to shoot out a check for this, and this is going to be the expenditure and how we're going to do it. Then everybody could plan for that. You wouldn't have the run on the stores for the supplies. You wouldn't have any of the problems that we quote unquote face with, shortages. It's a known fact. You'd be an idiot if you were the last one to the grocery store. It's like the last one trying to get a New Year's ticket to the best party. You know what I mean? It's like you're late, buddy, and now you got to pay 10 times the price because you're
That's
an idiot.
me.
Exactly, right?
Yeah, I'm an idiot.
So like, why can't we have a coordinated look at it like that and understand that, either it's for the environment or it's for whatever. Okay, let's just plan for it. We're going to shut down for a month, and the industry does this. Textiles does this during the month of October because the plants get really too hot for the people to work around the kettles and all the things, the textile machines. So, it becomes like 180 in the place. So they shut down for August, and it's a whole shutdown. Italy does this. Different places do this where they shut down for different reasons. Why can't we have a coordinated shutdown for COVID again? Whether it be every state, some states, whatever the coordinated event is, to get out of this. And then secondarily, for the environment, why don't we look at it like this? Like, why do we have to go, burn, kill, the plants, the animals, the water, the everything constantly? Why can't we take a pause once in a while? A coordinated pause. Is it so hard to look at that? In the middle of all this election.
I'll tell you why. Because the right party is not asking for that.
I think it's not just party. I think it's everybody. Everybody should be asking for it. Party related. Yeah. Doesn't matter. We should be always being like, listen, if we are the best country in the world, okay, yes. And this is only a world. I know we're all in our own little universes in our heads, and we think we're like the best thing in everything. No, it's a world. We're on it. We're all together. And if we have to look at this world as a complete, and we're the best country in the world, then how come we're not acting like it? How come we're not trying to clean up the environment? How come we're not trying to, do a seamless voting situation? How come we're not trying to do all these things and using the resources that we have? And by the way, you can still spend on the military. You still have the best military in the world, but you can also have the best education in the world. You can have the best rail system, best road system. And we didn't do infrastructure spending like Trump said he was going to. There was none, zero, zip. Where we spent $3 trillion on COVID, China spent $3 trillion on the Silk Road, okay, through Africa to move the supplies and the people from Africa to China and China to Africa back and forth. So they went in and invested in all these really poor countries, and they put $3 trillion into that. What did we do with our $3 trillion with COVID? Still waiting.
I'd like to answer that, but before I answer that,
yes,
right now there's a check on the House. I think the House maintains is under Democratic control. Senate seats right now 43-43, and I believe the two independents that are going to win and keep their seats. So I don't know how that's going to balance out. Now I'm going to answer your question, and for the people listening to this podcast, I am registered under no party preference. So as a guy who on any given Sunday can tell both parties to go kick rocks. I will answer this the most honest way I know how. My opinion generated by, if not fact, Chris, historical correlation.
Okay.
You're not going to like this because I'm going to say it again because it's not what the leaders in their party are asking them to do. And I'll give you an example. Selective patriotism. Selective nationalism. How many of our Republican friends would say, I'd take a bullet for my country? How many of our Republican friends would say, I would die for my country? How many of our friends would be like, I would die for that flag before I let you burn it? Now, ask the same question. All of those people that are willing to do all that shit for their country, when you ask them, would you wear a mask? Where's the
Yeah.
patriotism? It's no, fuck patriot. Fuck that. It's not patriotism. I'm a patriot, okay? Dissension is the greatest form of patriotism. That's nationalism. That's that's doing something because this person said so. They don't care if it's whatever. I know factions are built like that, but slaves are built like that. Slavery was built like that. Nazism was built like that.
Follow the leader.
Nationalism is a glorified bandwagon fallacy. Because a premise is popular, and because he says it, it's
a glass king.
It's
in a glass house.
Right. And that's why all Trump has to do is say, hey, wear a mask. Please, everybody just wear a mask. I had COVID. I had COVID. My wife behind me who's standing there staring at me, I know this bitch is mad at me. Because did you see Melania's face when he's talking about he had COVID? She said,
oh.
Did you see her face? When he announced he had COVID and she was standing behind him. If he said it, he has such a huge following. And tonight, just looking at the shift, like the big red wave right now, just looking at the shift, these people will follow him to no end. If he wants us to take over a small country to hit Grenada again, we're going. And they'll support him. They'll sign up. Don't need to be no draft. Don't need to be no draft.
Kissing COVID goodbye, spending $3 trillion, and then saying it doesn't matter after November 3rd.
Can't wear a mask for your country.
Elected. How come you can't wear a mask for your country?
Yeah.
How come it's not cool to?
I thought it'd be hip.
I thought it'd be hip too. I think I look good in a mask.
No, it's hip to be gay. It's hip to have a gun. All right, it's hip.
How come you can't be hip to wear a mask and save the person next to you? How come that's un-American?
That was
to wear a mask.
Yeah, that was my I love my gays and guns reference.
Of course,
that's where my sensuous nature comes from.
I own guns,
yeah.
You know, as a quote unquote, people call me a liberal, which I don't really think I am. I'm more of an American.
It just depends on what stance you take that day. They gotta label you. Well, they have to label you something, Chris. This is the world of tribalism where it's cool. You know, it's cool now to be part of a gang. It's cool to be part of a gang. It's cool to have someone to not feel alone and to join a tribe.
Sure, I get that. For sure, the sheeple mentality, of course. I get it. It's following the flock. Yes.
I call it tribalism. You know.
Well, I had the conversation about with a Episcopal priest back in the day. I said, listen, I don't get why people have to go to a certain church on a certain day and a certain hour, and that's religion. You know, to some people's eyes, it's like if I go to church on Sunday, because I've seen the same people go out and fucking fight and, steal and, everything else that under the book.
Right.
So how can, why is religion on a certain day and a certain hour, and that is a justification for people being religious? I said, because I don't get that. And he said, you know what? Because some people need to go to a place with other people to feel a community.
Yep.
I said, like a sheeple effect. He goes, you can call it whatever you want.
But there's nothing wrong with that either. Look, there's nothing wrong with fellowship.
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this.
No, but we're talking about collective change.
Collective change.
Yeah,
exactly.
The Brechtian approach. Like one single person can't do it by himself. And that's why it's important for these people to feel
unless it's a sheeple mentality where you have a Hitler type of person and people are following as a flock. And, that's the only other way you can do it. You see it with the Nexium guy that had the all those women in his cult.
Were you watching The Vow?
Yeah, I was watching The Vow. Man,
I watch every fucking episode.
Yo, always like, you don't know about you. You're not good enough inside of you. You can only be better if you're bad.
And this motherfucker plays volleyball too.
And then he goes and plays volleyball. I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe we didn't know somebody that fell into that, because it looked like it would be pretty fall intoable, to be honest. It's until you actually see his intent from the outskirts. If you were a culty type of person and a flocky type of person, you would assume that, I don't know. It's
dude, you got tattoos? You got tattoos too? Look what the tattoo says sideways. They get tattoos on their hips. And for the people watching, there's a show called The Vow.
The Vow.
DVR or the on demand or
Man, you
whatever.
gotta
It's
watch
9
it.
episodes, and I'm still waiting for the last one. I don't even know if they just stopped at 9.
Don't
It
know.
basically stopped when they said he's been placed under arrest, and that was the last time I
Yeah,
saw it.
he's in jail right now for like
Yeah.
120 years or something like that.
But this guy was convincing women to get tattoos or brands.
Branded
Yeah, not tattoos.
tattoos.
Whoa. No, branded. And then when you look at the brand sideways, what was it? Tell everybody what it
This
is.
is initials. He told them it was like earth and water because it
He
looked
said
like
the sign is symbolized
mist.
earth and
It
water.
looked like it looked like something like weird like this, but when you flipped it around, it was his initials. And yeah, that's some tap shit.
And then
they
you turn
went
it
after
sideways.
influential
It's not
people.
that earth and water shit. It's his initials, Kevin.
It's his
Something.
initials, man. And dude, and they're like, and everybody's like shocked to, and you can see how gullible people can be when they want to believe that there is, that certain bullet pill.
Yeah.
That there's this certain, everybody's looking for the quick fix.
Yep.
Like and religion kind of gives that to a lot of people too, is that there's something that you can rely on that is a quick fix for whatever you're going through or whatever you need in your life. And people are always looking for that, not only for their weight but for other things. They just want a quick fix to get out of it. And sometimes it's the long haul rather than a quick fix. That's with business, with life, and with a lot of things. Sometimes it's a quick fix isn't available.
Yeah. Do you think watching The Vow makes you more empathetic to misinformed voters? Because when this came out, you know what happened. You know what the media was doing. You know what like the opinion polls were doing. What were all the people doing? They weren't blaming Kevin. They were like, these are some dumb bitches. These are some dumb bitches, some gullible women who you would have to be this. They're like, dude, this is like Weekend at Bernie's. You have to be absolutely stupid to not know the guy's dead. Okay. And that's the question, Chris. The floor is yours.
Yeah.
You know what? No, floor is yours on that one. Did it make us more empathetic to people who get sucked into that because they don't know? That some of them are knowing they're just evil fucking people.
And I just said it looked like it would be pretty easy to get involved in something like that. I can see how people will, man, I don't know, because voting is a different situation. What's up? Yeah, Breaking and Bernie's.
Listen, that was COVID, the COVID crowd
movie.
for the Dodgers game.
Oh yeah,
that's him.
That's hilarious. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
That's hilarious. I don't know, voting's different from the sexual abuse and mind fuckery.
Okay.
So it's really hard to apples those type of things because they're so different. So I can't really apples to say voter, suppression information is the same as what he was doing with the mind games of these women and these people within his program. Now, I think that trying to change the narrative of reality is very similar in the two situations, where both when you see Trump lie about something and change the narrative to try to be and shit fucking Biden too, and everybody on the Democrat wants to not talk about fracking, so they talk about something else and they change the narrative very quickly.
Yeah, someone don't give a frack, right? Yep.
I can see it on both sides. I'm not stupid here, but it's the premise of the mind game of pushing your agenda through is what I think the root of your question is, right?
Right.
Is pushing a mind fuckery on somebody to push your agenda through.
I mean, Chris, these guys are not voting for him because they think he's evil. They're voting for him because they believe in him.
No, I know that, and I have really good friends that I don't shun them for voting for Trump.
You're not 12 either.
Exactly. I'm not like, God damn it, you voted for Trump, I'll never talk to you before. No, if you say something rude and something that's not based on truth,
Well, that's a deal
then
breaker.
that's a different story.
No,
You
for me,
insult
if you're
it's
willing to
gonna
be
come in
aggressive
family,
with me over someone you never met before in your life and you know me all your life,
exactly,
then
which
you
is
ain't my
what I
fucking boy
posted
no
today.
more. No, yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
You're willing to be aggressive with me, and you've known me for 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And I'm telling you from a personal point of view, this is how I see something. And then you want to be aggressive with me on that. To be honest with you, it shows me the kind of the weakness in the person. And is that referring to what you're talking about? Is that mind fuckery to then sway someone's opinion to do your bidding? You know, either on a sexual way or in whatever else. And I have mixed feelings about all of that, especially when it comes to voting. I think it should be as transparent as possible in a voting situation, of course. I think, like I said, it should be transparent as is of light coming on the screen as someone's voting for the person. Transparency. But ability to perceive through your speech, well, that's something that I can't shun Trump for being a master at convincing people his opinion.
We can't.
I can't say that sucks to be able to sway 50% of a state that dying from COVID and spending $3 trillion this year isn't a big deal, and we're just not going to deal with anything afterwards. That's amazing. And back to our point, it's going to change politics. It already has, obviously. And for the future thereof, it will definitely change politics.
Forever. This man has definitely changed the perception of politics. Now, which is really funny. I was watching Fox the other day because I do watch every single news station, even though people think I don't. I was watching Fox, and they had the "What if Trump doesn't win" on. And the commentator was like, he's going to be stronger not winning than he is winning, because these people are going to follow him till the end of the earth, no matter if he wins or he doesn't. Well, to his own channel. He'll have Trump channel.
That's what he said. He's been fighting for a network his whole life. He wants a network because he wants to have that control.
Win or lose, he'll get one.
For his sake, hopefully, yes, he will. Because he wants one. He's been trying his whole life to have a network. He believes that gives you power, which it does, to have that constant reel of people that are believing your information, your blast, your view on things. And that goes back to this political thing. I can't fault people for understanding people's opinions and being able to sway them. I can't fault somebody for doing that. Now, the process should be ironclad. Okay? The opinion is personal. And that's where I have a problem with COVID and everything else, is that there's a system to do things, and then there's a personal opinion of a way to do things. You know, as long as the system is ironclad, I don't give a shit about your personal opinion. I think it's great that you have one. I even love getting in heated arguments with people about it, especially in person. Morgan Chapman and I, Ty Loomis and I, especially in person, we go at each other.
Well, people stopped arguing with me about it. They just, when certain people are armed with information, they stop. Like me and Jason argued for like a whole month straight on two straight posts, and that turned out to be a draw, because with two alpha males without back pedals, that was a draw. And Jason and I'm like, dude, we're on the same fucking side anyway, so I'm just gonna walk away. You walk away.
We're all Americans. I'm just trying to, just at the end of the day, we're all Americans.
Well, here's what you have always heard me say, and I'm going to repeat it just for the sake of the podcast.
Well, I want you to answer that question.
What's that?
The question you just asked me, because it's a very hard question to answer, and I want to see how you answer it.
Am I empathetic to people who are voting for Trump? Absolutely. Yeah. And it's segued to exactly what I was going to tell you right now.
Why? But I want to know why.
I'll tell you why.
Yeah.
I'm going to start by saying this, and you've heard me say this, but it's important for the people listening who never heard this before.
Yes.
Joe Biden has entered November on a dementia drumstick. The question is Is that version of Joe Biden with 2 marbles rolling around in his head better than Trump? If the
We will
answer is
find
yes,
out tonight.
if the answer no, but if the answer is yes,
Or by
you vote for Biden.
tomorrow.
If the answer is no, you vote for Trump. So for the people who vote the answer no, you have to understand because of what the Democrats had the balls to send as their fucking primary nomination.
As their primary
and that's why I'm
nomination.
empathetic. I'm also empathetic because some of them are misinformed and they're ignorant, and you can educate them and they're like, okay, I'm educated, but I still like Trump anyway. Boom, and that's okay. And then there's some people you provide with information and they refuse to listen to it. So now they become ignorant, from ignorant to stupid. Stupid being protected ignorance, and then you can't be my friend because you're willfully ignorant. I'm empathetic to the ignorant. Those girls at the NXIVM thing, they're ignorant. Those weren't girls that found out what he was about and was like, fuck it, I back him anyway. Those are stupid people. Those are dangerous people. Which leads me to my last point. For every one bad thing, hold on. For every one bad thing you could say about Trump, you could say just as many bad things about Biden's past, whether they're true or whether they're not. So the reason why I'm empathetic is because I believe the person who believes that everything Trump says is the truth is just as dangerous as the person that believes everything's a lie.
Okay, I get your point.
The truth's in the middle. It's just about which side.
As far as dangerous is concerned.
Right.
As far as dangerous is concerned, but are you empathetic to their position, knowing that they've been put through a mind fuck? Is the answer really that I'm looking for on your, you empathetic to
I'm
them?
a prisoner of the moment.
I have to say that I don't know if I am or I'm not. I'm kind of like, as long as the system is fine, then you can.
Are you still Morgan Chapman's friend?
What's that?
Are you still Morgan Chapman's friend?
Of course I am.
There you go.
Of course I am.
So we have to be. We have to be empathetic. I'm still Casey Jennings' friend. Casey is my dude. Without Casey, there ain't no Jason in P1440. Without Casey, that girl Wendy Jones from the Optimist Journal, we're like mad tight. That's my best friend. Without Casey, there's no Jason and Wendy Jones. You know what I'm saying? Without you, there's no Morgan Chapman in my life. I met Morgan in New York. He's awesome. And then Vegas, FIVB, awesome. Who shows up with his freaking kid? It's Morgan.
Oh,
and I'm like, holy shit, dude.
Yes. P1440, right?
And I tagged you, right? I said, Chris, you're gonna love this one. So. Just naming names. Jessica Mcguire, she's a South Bay girl that is associating her Christianity and giving her life to Jesus with why she's voting for Trump.
Okay.
I don't see that. Look, I grew up. I didn't grow up in one of them quiet ass churches, okay? I grew up in one of them churches. You do backflips, you speaking in tongues and all that stuff. And that minister saying, if you don't know if you're going to heaven or hell, you going to hell. So I'm not going to say I don't understand where she's coming from because I grew up in a Republican household that was navigated by a pseudo Christianity is what I call it. And I sound like I'm calling her fake Christian and that's not right. I'm just saying that she's misled. Yeah. She's misled. She asked me what I thought of Rush Limbaugh. Come on. When someone asks you that, you're like, holy shit. What do I think of Rush Limbaugh? You're asking. That means you listen to that guy.
Yeah. Well, I think that, back in the day when we didn't have the internet and ability to find out knowledge for ourselves, it's an ignorant person who doesn't go out to try to seek out the knowledge if there's a question about something. And because, back in the day, you could tell somebody something, especially if they're in your religious circles, and they would believe it because there is no, unless you looked at the Encyclopedia Britannica, how the fuck are you going to know?
Unless you go to the library,
library, and you're only going to know because the person told you and because of their experience and da 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 da. So it was much easier to dupe people into ideas and just to let you know about Christianity is, I was an altar boy. I sang in the choir. My father was dean, provost, vice president of Christian universities, and he helped to open up Christian university sects in different countries and spread the Christianity around the world. So he was also mentioned in some writings for Christian doctrine. And so I grew up like pounded Christianity, like it was everywhere around me, everywhere I went to. When I go see my father, I was everywhere, symbolism. And
I love Christian values, dude.
And I am a Christian, diehard Christian.
No,
and
but
I try
we
to
love the
walk
values,
in,
Chris. Right? Don't
yes,
cheat
the
on your wife.
values
Don't
of it.
steal shit. Take a day out of the week and chill out. And, smoke a bong. Yeah. Sorry. Please continue.
Yes, and back to what I said, the core. The core of if you look at, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not, the actual core commandments that people are supposed
Don't
to follow.
kill nobody. Don't steal shit. Don't covet someone's wife.
And that's why I'm saying that these core things need to be mimicked in our political, not religious political, not saying that you have to take word for word, thou shalt not kill and thou shalt not, I'm not saying that. No. Just be one,
laws of decency.
And not one religion, you know what I mean? Because if you look at all the other religions, there's like, thou shalt not fucking kill a white cow, okay. I get it, but it's taking a consensus of all these religions and all these ideas, quote unquote. And if we were talking about politics, is coming up with a system that works for everybody so that everybody can go have their intermediate, just almost like the America in itself, where different states and you can be in a different church and a different, synagogue and a different, whatever it is for religion, it doesn't matter. And they can be right next to each other or across the street from each other. And it's all under one big pot. How come we can't do that for our political voting system? How come we can't have just one fucking system where it's just like, lock, stock, and barrel, so there's not so much confusion in the system and there's not so much perceived confusion available from our president sit there on a squat box and say, oh, this is going to be crazy, it's the worst ever. Like, why? How come we're not all so confident in the system?
You're talking about a human argument, though. You're not talking about a leftist argument.
But it's all the same thing. It's, you have, but there should be a core system.
I mean,
both
the left has
religion,
dude. The left has super delegates. All right, they have people there designed to protect their establishment candidate in case there's a grassroots
spending a lot of money to do
so for me, because to me, if I'm speaking against the right, what are they going to assume? I'm what?
A left.
I'm a left, and it's really, really hard. And they're like, you're a liberal in disguise and this and that. And I'm like, you motherfucker, do you have any idea how much heat I get from the left by just us, you and me having this conversation about empathy for our Republican friends? Do you know how much heat, like if Jason Olive were listening to this right now, oh, there goes my fence sitter again.
People's jaws drop when I say that Trump could have been the best president I've ever seen in my life. He was just do it for the people rather than himself.
He was... God,
I really think he might still be, and hopefully,
we're talking about Reagan versus Mondale shit, dude.
Yeah,
like if he did it halfway right, we're talking Electoral College 538 to 10 or some shit. Yeah,
there have been so many friggin' buildings with his name on it that wouldn't have been his own buildings all over this country, memorials and shit like this, if he had saved fucking people from COVID.
For the people listening, that was the biggest landslide in, to my memory of politics. It was the Electoral College was 528 to 10. It was Walter Mondale and Reagan in '84 running for a second term. Mondale won Minnesota. He won Minnesota and he won Washington D.C.
I thought he got like 70 altogether, but maybe we should look that up.
He got 13. I'm looking it up right
now. Look
it
up.
Yeah, man. That's why we're here. That's what this podcast for.
I'll do bong hits while you look it up. And look up 53% to Biden in Arizona. Nah, man. People said Arizona was the other way. Now the race is called. This is on Fox. Race called Arizona.
Yeah, Biden. He's
But
yeah, there's a huge percentage of votes in. So
race called. Ohio's in.
Here goes one. FDR. 523 to 8 at that time. It was 523.
Damn.
To 8.
To 8?
Yeah.
FDR won that much?
Yeah. Let's do
holy shit.
Let's do Reagan.
The New Deal worked. Wasn't he the New Deal?
Let's do Reagan Mondale Electoral College.
I'm not the politician here. I'm the marijuanaist.
Yeah, so Ronald Reagan won 525 of 538 electoral wins. So, like I said, I could only, I didn't live that long. I know I'm a good-looking old guy, people, but I didn't live that long for FDR. But I did. I was 14 years old when I watched my first primary.
Crazy.
And the states he won, again, by the way, were Minnesota, which is 10 electoral votes, and Washington, D.C., which wasn't a state. And this is not a true politician. This is a B-level actor with good hair.
Yeah, the last one that did it.
Yeah. Well, it might not be the last one. I mean, I don't know if we call this good hair, but...
I don't know. This is
you know
crazy.
what's killing me? CNN right now is still using Hillary comparisons last year to now. To try to they're trying to logically connect, like Hillary led this much, so if Hillary led this much and if Biden has this, then Biden should win by whatever. But
why?
But everything he's done and he's been wrong.
Get.
he did the sample with Michigan, and right now he's wrong. He did the sample with Wisconsin, and right now so far he's wrong.
That's what I don't understand. I don't understand why we keep on retreading to something else. It's even though I get its comparison to other.
All right, here's what we got. Right now,
okay, what do we got? Because Fox isn't doing it.
Right now, the electoral map, Biden has 205. He's getting very, very
more
close.
Than that on Fox. He
has 205.
Biden 223 to 204 on Fox. 223 to 204 Biden.
That can't be right. Because listen, hold on, let me show you.
Because what they're going to do is they're going to push him close and then
look. This is what I got so far. Because Chris, the reason why it's not 223, if it were 223, California has 55 votes. That's it. California has 55 votes.
Yeah,
that's the election.
That's what they just showed on here is 223, 204.
Come on. We got to go to the channel now. I gotta take a look. I'm gonna show people the camera.
Live. Right there, president with the bald hair dude.
223 to
204.
He needs 270 to win. That's it.
I know.
What are you
if
fucking
Fox
kidding
says
me?
it, then fuck.
You're like, dude, if you don't believe me,
I
believe Fox.
Everything else is fake news.
But listen, why do we listen to Fox? Give me one word to describe why you watch Fox. One word, just a fun word, just so people can laugh. Me? Satire. That's my word. Satire. It's my Republican Saturday Night Live, except it's true.
I guess viewpoint. I like hearing other people's viewpoint.
How the fuck do they give Biden 220 right now, dude? They're playing with people's they're playing with people's head right now.
I think
dude.
what they're doing is they're pumping him up so they can show like Trump just like go skyrocket.
So what are they gonna do? Are they gonna like? So what are they gonna do?
Way.
Are they gonna like yank 20 votes away from Biden and then give him California and give him like 260?
They're gonna stop him and they're gonna let Trump run up so he looks like he has a last minute run up.
Listen, for the people listening at home, for my Republican friends listening at home, I do not use CNN as my only source for news. Okay, Trump called them fake news a few years ago, and I get a lot of heat from my Democratic friends when I'm like, Trump is not all wrong. He is not all wrong. They've ran some horseshit. They've done some horseshit journalism.
Truth,
yeah,
you know.
But that's what I'm saying. The person that believes everything's a lie is just as dangerous.
Yes.
As the person who believes in everything's true. So
yeah, but you have to remember the influences when we say that, because remember because if it's a personal thing and or a political thing, there are two different. Even though they are personal, they are completely different.
But you're really good at connecting the dots, aren't you? CNN. Who's the president of CNN? His name is Jeff Zucker.
Yes.
Jeff Zucker has only endorsed one candidate his whole time publicly, and that was Kamala Harris.
Of course.
who's the VP. So go ahead.
But with that said, then how come like Bezos didn't come out and just flood Biden with money?
Well, the same reason why Hillary's not campaigning. The same reason why Hillary's not campaigning. They think it would hurt him. No, but they think it would hurt him. Because Bezos is so far to the left. Biden's not looking for lefty votes. He's looking for Republicans who are disappointed by Trump to change their mind.
But if it just comes down to money and stuff, like most of these people say, it just comes down to money at each.
It's so yo, what a freak! What did we just see? What did we just see?
I know. That's why I'm watching Fox. I want them to call 270 or whatever. He has to get to 270, right? Yeah. I'm like, oh,
No,
call this
wait,
shit.
wait. I wonder if they already called California. If
I
they've
think they
already
did.
called California, that's different. I get that.
I think they put Oregon, California, and Washington in there. To
They
be
would have
honest
to
with
be
you,
because California, their polls just closed.
yeah, they
Are
put
they
all.
closing now? Right, they're closing at
They're
9.
closing now. Yeah, at 9 o'clock.
How the fuck are they
Almost
gonna call
everything.
us? Call it? No, it can't possibly
All
include
right, we got
California.
209 to what is that? 119, honey. Can you read that? Yeah, 119, 209 on PBS Vote 2020. So PBS Public Broadcasting.
Has 209.
Oops, just lost you.
All
Sorry,
right, and
everybody. I'm getting
we're
excited about this.
1 minute away from California polls.
209 to 118 on PBS. This is
That's a
crazy.
wrap. Hawaii and
We
California is a win.
normally everybody would call it a wrap, and I said this to my wife the other day. The only reason it's not a wrap is because Trump is in this race. This shit would be called weeks ago on just conjecture of what's going to happen, but instead, everybody's still hanging on to every fucking vote.
Trump got
in every
Ohio.
little sentence.
They just called Ohio.
See?
Missouri. How did this can't be possible? How the fuck does Biden win this without Florida and Ohio, and trailing in Pennsylvania?
Oh, he didn't get
Arizona.
Texas,
He got
no?
Arizona.
Did he get Texas?
No,
Arizona, and did he get Texas too?
no. Texas is they're still rolling in. Plus, Texas owes us 110,000 votes.
Yeah. I'm going over to
Let's go to ABC or something. Hold on.
we're
We're gonna wrap this up in a minute because
I'm gonna go back to CNN because we're just watching TV like everybody else and bullshitting. 205 to 114 on CNN.
which
What's
makes
that?
more sense.
226. 236.
This is
That's
fucking
with
bullshit,
California,
dude.
Washington, and
That's with California.
240. Yeah.
How are they? But they
240.
didn't even. Their polls just closed.
It's at 205, 114.
Okay.
205 to 114.
But does that
on
include
CNN.
California?
I don't know. I can't get a straight answer on this here.
Yeah,
This is
me neither.
why can't they just ticker it?
Oh man, who knows? All right,
I
look,
think it's done on purpose to make it confusing.
dude, fuck this. We're out of here, man. We can't. I mean,
Yeah, sounds good.
we can't wait for these people. For everybody
it's gonna be all night.
for everybody listening to us home, I really, really
Hey.
appreciate y'all coming. Yo,
Yeah.
plug your shit.
Yeah, be safe, everybody. Good luck with everything, everybody. You're voting
plug your
and
site.
be safe and everything. Cali Bear CBD, calibear.life. If you need some good CBD, we're in friends and family rounds, so go check us out. Some good tinctures, and of course, RJ didn't happen this. The tournament didn't happen this year, but Dougie's doing a little 4-man thing, co-ed, I think. So check him out if you need that, and Otis Collective Dispensary in Oregon if you happen to come up to Oregon and want some good marijuana.
I was gonna go and vote. Instead, I got ha.
All night long, and then watched it.
I was gonna use my umbrella tote. Instead, I got ha.
My brother, it's good to see you from
I gotta
afar.
put the women and
High
children
five.
to bed. Yo, mad love, my man. Chris Chips, this
I
is
got you.
episode 63. We're out. Play my music. I said play my music.
Shame.
I played the wrong song. Shame.
Shame.
Chris Chips. I just played the wrong song. Let's try that again. We are out. Come check out the Option Podcast on OptionVB.com. It's also available on iTunes and Spotify and on YouTube under the NY Varsity Sports handle. You're going to love what you hear.